Welcome to the Business Women Australia Podcast Show, the podcast that brings together industry leaders to discuss the latest trends, insights and strategies. So sit back and relax, let's get inspired by the amazing women who are shaping the future of professional women in Australia. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
I think it's muted.
It is muted. And here we are. Welcome. This is third time lucky. We have done this intro 3 times.
We've got it now, okay?
Lyn Hawkins, National Director of Business Women Australia, and I'm so excited to have on the BWA Podcast Show today Sarah and Heidi, the duo from Eskay Design. They specialise in both commercial and residential high-end design, from initial design concept right through to the finished product. And they're renowned for their highly personalised approach and their luxe interiors. And I can attest to that because recently someone and I have bought an Airbnb down in Mandurah, and we're going to put it in as a luxury Airbnb. And I've engaged Sarah and Heidi to do our designs, and they're stunning, absolutely breathtaking. So, look, we're going to hear about the Milan Design Week. But before we do that, I'd really love to hear about how you've built this strong reputation in high-end interior design, and how the two of you came together and what inspired you to get Eskay Design up and running.
So Heidi and I have known each other for over 20 years, and we actually originally worked together in a building industry in a tile shop. So we were architectural reps, so on the road with architects and designers. We worked really well together for about 5 years, and then went our separate ways and started having children and that type of stuff. And then I'd sort of started getting back into interior design with other people, and so had Heidi, and it was just getting a little bit busier. And one day over a glass of champagne, we were like, why aren't we doing this together? We know we work so well together. We've both got our different strengths, and, you know, as a team, we could be amazing. So Heidi uprooted her whole family and moved up to Perth, and we were like, you know, we've got 5 small children between us. We'll just start slow. It didn't happen that way. Just all of a sudden, we had a lot of work, a lot of display homes in Perth, and incredibly busy. Heidi probably saw it a bit differently, but yeah.
I think we're very lucky because we're similar in so many ways. Like we have different strengths, like Sarah said, but we work in a very similar way. But we also have the same sort of family values, and we were just really lucky to have a lot of support around us as business kind of took off. In the beginning, I think Sarah was doing meetings with a baby strapped on the front of her, and we just tried to support each other as much as we could, which is great in our industry because there's so many designers, but also I'm sure in other fields as well, where women are just working on their own. So it's great to have, you know, the support of someone that you're working with as well.
Yeah, look, that's so important, isn't it? And I really picked that up, that great dynamic that you have and the great joy that you have in working together. It's really quite infectious, and being a part of that is awesome. And I think I originally was introduced to you, I think Heidi, through your husband, and my colleagues through Private Wealth Network. Yeah, so it's great. Or was it Sarah's? Yeah. Oh, it was Sarah's husband. Yeah, Marty. Yeah. Good old Marty. Thank you.
We find in our industry, in any industry, I would say 90% of our work is word of mouth. And it, you know, obviously you have to be really good at your job to be able to get that word of mouth, you know, referrals. And I just feel that we have established ourselves in our field well enough to, you know, get to know people. And because it's referred, they already are happy with our work even before we've done anything, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's it. You know, and I think anyone listening, any women who are running a business, just thinking about who are your greater referrals and how do you look after your referral partners? It's so important. So let's talk about the Milan Design Week. I mean, it's a global trend-setting kind of activity. It happens every year. It's been going on for years and years and years, isn't it?
Right.
So what an opportunity that's been for you. What was surprising or what was unexpected or what kind of trends were coming out that will shape these luxe interiors for 2025?
Yeah, I think it was such a great opportunity to go, and it's quite mind-blowing even just being there and seeing a lot of what's on display just generally in the community as well. But the design fair, I wouldn't say that a lot of the things were unexpected for us, because I think what's coming, we've been seeing it sort of filtering through over the last couple of years, but definitely there is a real move away from those really cold, hard interiors, those really architectural, geometric kind of styles. And we're going to this really beautiful, warm interiors with softer curves and more natural kind of products, which has been really, really lovely. Very seamless. A lot of the things in Italy on display at Milan were really seamless. So function was so important. Everything had a home, everything had a purpose. We didn't see a lot of fuss, so cabinets without handles and, some sort of open shelving and things like that, but a lot of it behind doors so that everything could be put away. And lots of beautiful lighting. Really, I think they do that so well in Europe, don't they? Like that ambient lighting and task lighting as well in kitchens. You open up cupboards and it lights up. And then even at dining spaces, just very small little lamps on tables and things like that. So there's some really, really beautiful lighting around.
My favorite part of Milan and going and sort of seeing was the plumbing section. So all the bathroom displays. And for me, we do have a little bit of it in Perth already, but they've obviously got it on steroids. But a lot of beautiful, beautiful tapware, like in your brasses and different colours, but all the handles are all inlaid with natural stones. And they are stunning. They make it look so high-end. Obviously, it already is high-end, but it's just such a gorgeous touch and brings in just such a simple element, but it just, stands out and looks absolutely gorgeous. So plumbing, and then a lot of beautiful natural stone basins as well. So they were kind of my standout. We don't see a lot of it. We see it probably in a very pulled back way in Perth, whereas over there they have it in such an amazing way. Like, it just looks fantastic.
Sounds stunning. Sounds absolutely stunning. So, you've mentioned this shift towards these fluid and organic shapes in high-end interiors. How do you see this evolution shaping the way that people interact with the space and how they feel about their living spaces?
I think it's I think the last 5 years since COVID and where there's been a lot of unrest in the world, it's really changed the way we feel about our homes and our spaces. I think having that place to retreat to that sort of, almost wraps around us in terms of design, where you feel safe, cozy, and being able to work from home in a really calming environment. So I think we're seeing really beautiful, soft organic curves and really calming palettes in the home that make people want to spend time in their space and retreat there after work.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well, it also has changed. Open plan living is still a massive thing here and we all love it. And I think for your main living spaces, it's fantastic. But, obviously with COVID and the need for studies and offices, people still like that little bit of privacy and separate zones. I don't want everything to be open. They want to have their own little, reclusive space still. So I think that's been a big thing. Like Heidi said, the curves. So for the last 20 years, everyone's been trying to pull down their arches, for instance, in their homes. Now people are spending a lot of money and putting them in. And just a lot of curves, like Heidi said, a lot of curves, but even in showers. Heidi's just been working on a client at the moment and they've got this beautiful curve in their office. And it's just gorgeous. Instead of being this straight geometric space. It's organic, it's natural, it's a lot more soothing to walk into. It's really hard to furnish and makes our job a lot more difficult, but it's a beautiful space. So I love that, and I do love all the curved furniture as well. So again, it's about just being soft and no sharp edges, that type of thing. So it's come a long way, and I think moving forward it's going to stay like that for quite some time.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? You really do, that was the other thing I was thinking is, how long do these kind of trends stay in place? And I guess incorporating natural textures and materials like wood and stone and the woven elements, that seems to be gaining momentum generally too. I've sort of had a bit of a wander around the Angove Collective down here, and just noticing that so much more of those textured elements are in place. What advice would you give to someone trying to blend those elements seamlessly into their homes, into their current homes without overwhelming the space?
Yeah, I think straight away I sort of say to people, don't be afraid. Like, do it. Like be different. So obviously, being in Italy, for centuries and centuries, they combine textures, patterns, color, movement together, all in one thing. And it's all over the place, but it's actually what makes it beautiful. And it's what makes it interesting. So from my point of view, we are very conservative in Australia, like a lot more conservative. And so, we obviously have to understand that. So we would sort of say to our clients, let's do the bold patterns, let's do the bold textures, but we can just do that on a more neutral color palette so that it's not so overwhelming. But, I just sort of say to people, if it's your home, you should be putting in it the things that you like. We're there to edit it for you and curate it for you, to make it work, because that's obviously what we are good at. But bring in what you love. And I think, be bold. I think you're on mute.
We've lost you again, Lyn.
Oh.
I'm just going to bring in the images that you shared with us, and just talk us through, a little bit about these.
So, for instance, this image here, a family client, they've got 2 young children. They still wanted a beautiful, warm, probably isn't quite picking up the colors, but it's actually a very warm, neutral palette in here. So we've actually got porcelain in here throughout. It's actually not natural stone. So the bench tops, the fascias, the splashbacks, they're all porcelain slabs. That island, for instance, is well over 2 meters deep. It is huge. The client can't even reach the center of it. And then, the fluted bits that you see around the edge, they actually are natural stone. This one here, obviously another client of ours, where it's quite a traditional home, and this was a renovation as well. So we had to combine, the classic elements of their existing home, but with more function and more, more modern aesthetics as well. And a Frenchie. So you can see in the background that the house is quite traditional. And it's, so again, for us, we have to be able to work with our clients and combine everything together. This is just a little cellar. That was the client's existing table. It's actually not round, it's oval. So we had to get custom made rugs. Obviously all the cabinetry is new, and then just find some beautiful lighting so that the guys can sit in there, have their drinks, play their cards, so it's a really warm, inviting space for them.
I love that green too.
Yeah, the green's beautiful.
Yeah. And again, this is another home, was another renovation as well. So again, still combining a lot of very classic elements. So the warm tones, but with the whites, warm timbers, that type of thing. And again, sort of bespoke. So those lights, for instance, are handmade. They're not like just off the shelf type lighting.
It's a good example of mixing of the different textures and elements. You've got like that beautiful warm stone on the wall, then you've got another Carrari sort of looking marble, then you've got the timber, the glass, the trim around the mirror. So this is a really great one where it's quite a neutral palette, but it's just layered up with all the different textures and finishes.
That's stunning. It really works, doesn't it?
Yeah, the clients
Love it. It's gorgeous to see some of those beautiful images of your work. And, you've talked a bit about how colour can dramatically influence the mood of a space. You're talking about sort of what are the must-have colours that you're seeing are really working well with these kinds of design trends?
I guess we've already talked about those warmer tones, like the beautiful beiges and travertines. It's when we're saying warm, we're not talking about, the creams of 20 years ago. Like I know there's probably a lot of people out there with hog bristle on their walls, but we're moving away from those yellowy creams and more to those sort of nudes and beiges, and then from that transitioning into your rusts and terracotta-y type tones. I would say green, it's almost like the new neutral. It's everywhere still. It's going to be continuing on. It sort of fits really well with that idea of biophilic design, incorporating the outside in. And it actually does add a lot of warmth to a space using green. And then colours of nature, so definitely still some blues coming through as well.
Yeah. And I think from my point, sorry, Lyn.
No, tell us, Sarah, and then I'll ask my question.
So obviously, yes, warm, neutral interiors, that's where we're going. But what I always say to people as well, white is still neutral, and white is still a very, very good base. We're moving away from white on white on white, but white with all your neutrals and your creams and all that sort of stuff looks stunning. Again, it's just because it does give you a lot more longevity in our interiors, and it's a fantastic base.
Yeah, and it does look so gorgeous with those natural textiles and the woods and it just everything just really works well, doesn't it, in that regard? The question I was going to ask was about the use of plants. We've seen a lot of sort of that kind of Instagram kind of plants everywhere. My house is full of plants because I've got kids who just constantly striking things and adding plants to my plants and getting to the point where the cleaners don't want us to be adding any more plants to anything. It's like fight through the jungle. What are your thoughts on that? Are we paring back on that sort of stuff? Are we going more down that line?
Look, you need to edit how many you have, so maybe you should pull some back. I don't know. But I think it adds so much to a space. So we often walk into, displays and other places. And one of the first things Heidi and I will both notice is they've got no greenery. We notice it because you need it and it's beautiful. Like biophilic design is so on trend and has actually been for a long time. So whether it is artificial plants, because not everyone has a green thumb, we don't.
Yep.
So we require artificial plants. They look amazing these days and they look so real and natural. And if you've got a neutral interior and you just have that gorgeous splash of green in there, that's all you kind of need.
Yeah, there's so many tips that you've got that are coming through that help create that kind of luxe high-end interiors. People that have got, quality homes that really need to be putting their houses on the best foot forward in terms of doing the best from that luxury space. What is it that makes a space feel luxe?
I would say good quality product, so when you have good quality product, it means you've got the good finishes, you can just tell. Also editing. So for us, when we do have a client that, really, really wants to push that boundary and make it luxe, we don't overdo it. We actually just very few, very good quality type pieces in terms of like accessories. So if we were doing a display home, we would have lots of accessories and, you make it interesting. But when we're doing the sort of the more high end, we just buy simple and just, beautiful bespoke pieces.
Yeah, I think it's about balancing the hard and the soft as well. I think it's really important to think about if you've got a lot of hard surfaces, like things like adding sheer curtains, things like greenery, beautiful layering different linens. I think that makes a massive, massive difference to a space and really luxes up what could be a pretty cold space otherwise.
Yeah. You'd be amazed at how good we can make a bed look. Our clients are quite surprised when they make their bed every day and then we come in and, obviously we've done their space and we make it. it makes such a difference, and it does look, beautiful.
Yeah.
And there is an art to that, absolutely. There's definitely an art to making a bed look great. So you've obviously done quite a bit of travelling overseas, and as designers, tell me, is it more than champagne and cocktails? Because every time I've seen the photos you showed me of you in your trip you've got either a cocktail or a glass of champagne. Yeah.
Look, it's so obviously we went for the Salone del Mobile in Milan, so that's why we went there. We also went to Germany to a factory. So, you go there for a specific reason, but it's actually probably what we do outside of those spaces that are actually more inspiring for us. So just seeing, like Heidi said before, the community itself in Milan, when the fair is on, every shop has something on and are featuring something, and it is amazing. So the inspiration that you actually get from the spaces around you is phenomenal.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting too how just in day-to-day how commercial spaces influence the residential spaces. It's nothing like you go to a new bar, restaurant, cafe, offices where you see some beautiful wall cladding or some really interesting tiling, and you can take elements of that and incorporate them into your home to give it kind of more of a full modern feel. So I think even just the newer, more well thought out spaces in commercially around us, even at home as well as overseas, can really influence our residential design.
And so when you're not traveling around the globe, where else do you get your design inspiration from?
I would say a lot of our inspo comes from our suppliers. So our relationship with our suppliers is so important, and we expect to be kept up to date by them. Obviously, their marketing material is often, really interesting. We have often been involved in helping a lot of our suppliers with upcoming trends. They come to us to say, what would you choose out of these colors? So, because obviously we like to think that we're, we know a lot. So we get a lot of information from them, and we do rely on it quite a bit. So it's a great tool for us.
And so the other thing I'm thinking is that, we've got specific lifestyle in Western Australia and around Australia. I mean, what makes our lifestyle different, and how do you balance these sort of global and international trends into the unique qualities of our own local culture and our own environment?
I think we're quite lucky at the moment, because I think sort of what is coming through, globally really suits our lifestyle. WA is full of beautiful landscapes. We've got amazing beaches and forests and a real community vibe, probably unlike a lot of other places in the world. So these gorgeous natural finishes and timbers and stones really suit us. I think we have to consider functionality a little bit, like in terms of, we're a very pet-friendly society, so we like lots of really practical things to live on. We have very hot sun, so we have to think about sun damage and wear and tear in our finishes. So I think that's a really important consideration for us as well. So it's finding that balance between what's beautiful and what's functional.
Yeah. And I think as well, just again, sort of our lifestyle and culture and all that sort of stuff, Heidi and I try and be quite aware of, sustainability, ethically sourced products, also trying to use our local suppliers and artisans. So we would love to do that more. Obviously, it does cost more. So that's where, we lose it sometimes, because people's budgets don't quite allow us to buy those sort of more bespoke pieces, because obviously it's so much cheaper to buy from overseas. But where possible, we love to try and incorporate that where we can.
Yeah, I think it's an important tip for anyone who's doing any kind of project, is really think about what are the key pieces where you can invest and then you can pull back in other places. So you get longevity in the design and longevity in the pieces that you're selecting. They'll last a lot longer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that and the next generation are really very interested in that supply chain, probably more so than my generation was. I think it's really going to be something that we'll be keeping an eye on, and I think great opportunities for local artisans and producers. So what's next for the two of you and Eskay Design?
Well, for the last 10 years, Heidi reckons it's 20 years. Personally, for Eskay Design, I would love to do a high-end luxe hotel or resort. That's always been sort of my aspiration, I would say. I just think that it would be amazing. So that's what I would like for us to do, but Heidi probably might think a little bit different.
I think I'm really, really loving with working with more residential clients at the moment. I love that kind of, you get to see the joy of how much their space impacts them when it's been changed, and you really get to know people on the journey, how they live, what their kids do, what they're involved in, and we've had some really beautiful relationships with our clients, which I really love. So more of that, and
a hotel,
yeah.
I love it. Well, if Hayley Bailey's listening, we'd love a call to Eskay Design. I certainly love the work that the Baileys have done with their luxury resorts. They had to rebuild Kangaroo Island, of course, and Lord Howe Island was extraordinary, and I'm yet to go to the Queensland one. So, and they've done a gorgeous one in the interior. And I actually heard through the grapevine they've got their eye on doing something down in our southwest. So, Hayley, if you're listening, we want a phone call through to Sarah and Heidi. Thanks for coming on the show. I think we might have to get you back early next year and talk about commercial interiors. I think that'll be our next topic. And I'd really love to hear, what's in store for 2025 in that commercial space, particularly around the hospitality piece. I think that would be a really nice little segue into that conversation. So we've got our next topic lined up. We'll keep enjoying working on the Hawkins Veneto Lane Airbnb. Maybe we might even do a reveal. That could be pretty fun on a podcast show. Our members and guests, if you're listening and you want a reveal on the Airbnb for some shameless advertising for my own little side hustle, I would love that too. So let me know if you want to hear that. But look, you guys bringing together over a decade of excellence. Eskay's brought to life the vision of clients who seek luxurious, high-end interiors that reflect the individuality and honour the extraordinary qualities of our West Australian lifestyle. So well done. It's been so great to tap into your passion and listen to all your insights on the international trends that are actually so relevant to our own interiors here in Australia. So thanks so much, Sarah and Heidi. How will we, if anyone who's listening wants to get in contact with you, what's the best way?
Email is probably best.
Yeah.
Both of us have our email addresses, so I don't know if we put that out or
you can Google us. Our website will have both email addresses and our phone numbers.
Fantastic. So. And you're also, I think we've got you on our BWA directory as well. So all else fails, jump onto there. We might put them into our show notes as well as the website. So thank you everyone for listening, whether you are listening to us live and streaming across Facebook, across LinkedIn and YouTube. We'll also be on catch up on your favourite channel, whether that's on Spotify or Apple iTunes, wherever you listen to your favourite podcast, we are there. So we would love you to like and subscribe. Thanks a lot, Sarah and Heidi. It's been great having you on the show.
Thank you.
You have been listening to the Business Women Australia podcast show. We hope you've enjoyed today's episode and gained some valuable insights to empower you on your journey. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to stay updated in our latest episodes. And if you're not already a member of Business Women Australia, what are you waiting for? Head to our website today and join so that you can connect with a thriving community of inspiring women across Australia. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.